Okay, so we're going to pick up here with the early 2000s in the massive Marvel and DC multiversal timelines. What is this? Okay, but first, back to the 90s for a minute. We have um, Spider-Man: The Ultimate Villain Showdown. That's part of the 90s Spider-Man cartoon, which I believe is the best, which in my opinion is the best Spider-Man cartoon that we've gotten to date, other than the Into and Across the Spider-Verse movies. And then up next in the DC movie timeline, we have Catwoman with Halle Berry. And this one's just kind of a Elseworlds project. She's not going to connect with anyone else. She's not going to like meet up with Batman or anything like that, because this is Patience Phillips, not Selena Kyle. Which interesting that they would miss that, but multiverse. I'm just going to sum it up to a multiversal anomaly. What's this? Okay. And then in 2003 are these next three Spider-Man cartoon segments, which are The Mutant Menace, High Voltage Villains, and Ultimate Face Off. This takes up most of the series of this Spider-Man, the new animated series. And Spider-Man has organic webbing like Tobey Maguire in this show, which is a unique taste, a unique flavor for animation, because that's not very common in Marvel animation. And then in 2003 also, we have the events of Hulk. This is the 2003 Eric Bana Hulk. So that is not a great movie. Like, the special effects could have been better, but it's still pretty good, I think. And then up next in 2004, we have the original Hellboy movie, and yeah. So this one is from the visionary director of Blade 2, based on the celebrated Dark Horse comic book. I'll have to give this one a rewatch because I don't really remember a whole lot of what happens in it, but it looks cool. I can remember that much. And then let's see here. I think jumping back in the timeline again, in 2003 we have the events of X2, X-Men United. And as well as in 2004, we have the events of either version of Spider-Man 2 with Tobey Maguire. Spider-Man 1, I've neglected to mention, takes place in 2002. We'll get to the Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield Spider-Man trilogy and duology when we get to 2015 for some reason, or 2014, because that's when Amazing Spider-Man 2 takes place, and I decided to have the individual cases for those there. So that is my reasoning for why we just jumped ahead to Spider-Man 2. And then in 2005, still in 2004, we have the events of both the regular and extended cuts of the Thomas Jane Punisher movies. So there's that. And in 2003 and 2005, respectively, we have the Daredevil and Elektra movies. Either cut would work here. Since these are the director's cuts, that's the ones that we'll be assuming are in this universe right now. And then in 2005, we have a new Batman debut with Batman Begins. Christian Bale, obviously. And he will be crossing over into Fantastic Four with Chris Evans, Captain America, as Human Torch here. Yeah, that would be pretty cool. So, yeah. Then we have in 2006 the events of X-Men: The Last Stand. Something I forgot to mention when we were in the 80s was that X-Men Origins takes place in the 80s, pretty much. So I'll have to correct that shortly. However, when does this take place? 2005. And also in 2005, we have Constantine, which I also have on Blu-ray here. But since they look different, I kept both cases. I want to try and get a 4K as well. Hopefully it's a standalone 4K, but because I think that's what I have spaces saved for. And then let's see. In 2007, to move this up a little bit, we have the events of Ghost Rider. But before that, we have 2006, Superman Returns. New Superman, because at this point Christopher Reeve would have died in real life, so he won't be reprising his role out of respect for the Superman legend. Then in 2006, we have V for Vendetta as well in the DC side of things. And in 2007, we have the Zoom Academy for Superheroes and Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer. Yeah. Zoom Academy for Superheroes would be one of those Elseworld projects where no one else interacts with the characters except if they're in the movie itself. We're going to be skipping this movie here and going to 2008, which is going to be a busy year. But first, we have, or in addition to that, we also have 2007's Darkman trilogy and Hellboy 2, The Golden Army. All three of these will be set within a few years of each other, ending with 07. And then this one will be taking place in 08. Darkman is in the Marvel side and Hellboy the DC side. Yes. And then we'll be skipping this one as well. And then we have the ultimate cut of The Watchmen, as well as The Dark Knight, which I don't think I have an individual case for anymore. But anyway, we have The Dark Knight with Christian Bale as Batman again, taking place, and Christian Bale's Batman will also be appearing in this. However, it will be in a post-credit scene that the Marvel multiverse is quite well known for. Also in 2008, we have the animated events of the Spectacular Spider-Man series here. And this version of Spider-Man reappears in Across the Spider-Verse when they're at the Spider-Man Hub area. Also in 2008, we have Iron Man, as well as the Incredible Hulk, now with Mark Ruffalo instead of Edward Norton. Actually, I think I'll have it be Edward Norton for the duration. And then we have hopefully I'm not missing any early 2000s DC properties. Happening shortly after the Watchmen movie will be Watchmen the series. Yeah. And then we have Blade the series taking place in 2008, the year it came out. Good series. Yeah. Then, as stated, this one takes place in the 80s. So I forgot to mention that before. Also in 2008, we have Punisher Warzone with, what's the guy's name? I think Dominic West as the Punisher. No, Ray Stevenson. My bad. Ray Stevenson's the Punisher in this. So that won't be a multiversal type thing. It'll simply just be a recast because we weren't able to get Thomas Jane to reprise the role for his own reasons. And then we have in 2010 the Losers. Not a team I would want to be a part of because it sounds like they are not good at what they do. But Chris Evans and Zoe Saldana show up here, as well as Idris Elba, I believe. Yes. So 3 MCU names are in this. One of which two of which we have not come across yet. Idris Elba and Zoe Saldana. So there you go. Oops, that goes over here. Duh. Then we have, set in 2010 also, the events of Jonah Hex. It's supposed to be set in the mysterious spirit world of post-Civil War West. However, I'm going to say that it takes place in 2010. It just has an Old West aesthetic to it, with Josh Brolin, who would end up being Cable and Thanos later on. There you go. Jonah Hex. And then in 2011, we have Green Lantern and its extended cut. I thought it was an okay movie. The CGI wasn't as good as it could have been. The acting was hit and miss. Ryan Reynolds did a good job, but that's about all that was cool about it. Was Ryan Reynolds. So there you go. Then also, back in 2010 again, we have the events of this movie, Kick-Ass 1, and the reason I have this in the DC universe is because Nicolas Cage's character Big Daddy looks like he's in a bat suit. So there you go. I need to put that below Green Lantern on, actually. And then in 2011, we have the events of Red 1. And Red 2 will be taking place in 2013, so we're not there yet. Which means it's getting close to time to grabbing the next portion of DC films. But not quite yet. So, and then 2012 is going to be kind of a large year, for a few reasons here. Starting off the year of 2012, we have The Amazing Spider-Man 1, which I'll show the case for later because it's under 2014. But then we have the events of Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance. And The Avengers up next. And I forgot to mention that at this point, Iron Man 1 and 2 take place before the Incredible Hulk, and in the post-Avengers world, we have the events of Iron Man 3, which leads into the next project, which is Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 1 and Red 2, both taking place in early 2013. Early to mid 2013, I should say. This up here as well, because I have another case for it. And then I want to make sure I'm not skipping around in the 2014. Okay, so still in 2013, we have the events of Kick-Ass 2. No longer has a Batman-looking character in it, because he got killed. And then in 2013, kicking off the current brand, or the 21st century for the DC Extended Universe movies, we have, before I say that, The Dark Knight Rises also happened in 2012. We'll get to that in the next stack where I have the Dark Knight trilogy packs. But then we have Man of Steel, set in 2013, followed by Birdman and Captain America: The Winter Soldier, both in 2014. And then The Wolverine, set in late 2013, early 2014, including the extended version. The extended cut would be the part that would be in 2014, the early 2014, because it takes a little bit longer for the since the movie itself is longer, it takes place longer. So there you go. And then in 20, when was this? Okay. In 2014, we have Guardians of Galaxy Volumes 1 and 2. And I need to move to a new stack here, which means I'm going to be stacking up a bunch of Marvel properties right next to me again. And this is where the multiversal element will really start to kick in, is in this stack here, because we close the Infinity Saga and open the other saga. Real quick, we have the events of Thor and Thor: The Dark World in 2011 and 2013, respectively. And we'll get to Ragnarok in a minute, because I have an individual case for that. That is a Blu-ray case with a cool slipcover. But yeah. In the meantime, I am just moving a bunch of titles here. So we're going to back up a little bit to the early 2000s with the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man trilogy. The only thing that would change with these is that he would be able to interact with characters like Blade and the X-Men, and Captain Marvel would have a cameo, even though she is off-world or away from Earth at this time. And then we have the events of The Amazing Spider-Man 2, as stated before the Battle of New York from the Avengers. And then The Amazing Spider-Man 2, where it's a post-Avengers New York, but it's in an alternate universe, so the invasion of New York never took place here. And they don't even have Avengers. Tobey Maguire does have a Doctor Strange, but I'm not sure if it'd be a Sorcerer Supreme Doctor Strange or just a surgeon. So, moving on, we have Season 2 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. taking place after the fall of S.H.I.E.L.D. from Captain America: The Winter Soldier, where Agent Coulson and his team are in turmoil with losing one of their um, perceived allies to the dark side of Hydra, with Grant Ward obviously betraying the team in that series. And also taking place here would be the start of the Arrowverse continuity. So there's another ginormous pile that I need to have hopefully rest on my leg. And that would kick off with Arrow Season 1, followed by Constantine, the complete series. And The Flash, set in 2014 as well for Season 1. And I believe Season 2 takes place in 2015. So we have events of 2015 here, which also happens to be when Fan Four Stick takes place with the new cast that is established in that movie. And then we have Avengers Age of Ultron taking place in 2015, as it does in real life. And then in 2016, we have the events of Supergirl, I believe Arrow Season 2, as well as Arrow Season 3, perhaps. And then we have Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, where we have Wonder Woman return to the DC universe here with a new Henry Cavill Superman and Ben Affleck Batman. Yeah. And then 2016 would also bring us Suicide Squad. So that would be cool. Although Jared Leto would not be the Joker in that, they would have skipped to using Joaquin Phoenix, who would later get his own solo movies that are separate from this continuity in an Elseworld project. Then we have Arrow Season 4 taking place in like 2017 or 18, something like that. And seasons 5 through 8 taking place up until I think 2018 or 2020's Crisis on Infinite Earths, I believe. I can put these up here now. I think I forgot to mention, but Wonder Woman 1984 took place in 84, and Wonder Woman was the only DC character in that, or as far as the heroes are concerned. Then in 2015, we also have Ant-Man, which I have a 4K of as well. Then Big Hero 6 takes place in 2015 as well, and again in an alternate universe to the main ones here. And then in 2016, we also have the events of Supergirl Season 2 and Flash Season 3, as well as the origin point in the timeline for Legends of Tomorrow being 2015, but that has a bunch of time travel elements. So there you go. Who doesn't love a little bit of convoluted time travel? The whole series for Legends of Tomorrow will take place primarily in their release year, with their alternate timelines and whatnot being visited. So this one would be 2016. Look and see when this one takes place. Okay, so we're not quite there yet. Then in 2016, we also have the events of Captain America: Civil War, Deadpool, and Black Widow. And then let's see. kicking off 2017, we have the events of The Gifted Season 1 and Legion Season 1. And Legion Season 1 is going to end in the early 2018. But before that happens, we still have Flash Season 4 and Supergirl Season 3 taking place in 2017 as well. Also in 2017 is the theatrical cut of Justice League. Again, is it a great movie? No. Do I enjoy it? Sometimes. It's nice to laugh at. Yeah. And then we have the events of Season 3 Legends of Tomorrow and Season 4 Legends of Tomorrow. Both taking place in 2017 and 18. And then we have 2018 taking place with Season 4 of Supergirl. And Jessica Jones Season 1 is 2017. I forgot to mention that a second ago. Luke Cage Season 1 is also 2017. And then Daredevil Season 2 is also 2017. And then we have Doctor Strange taking place in 2017 or 2018, I think. 2018, I think. Yeah. With the cool steelbook, which looks like a book on the inside. How cool. Yeah. And then, what's this? Yes, another Elseworlds project, Rendell, Dark Vengeance. This is in the same continuity as another title here coming up, Valentine the Dark Avenger. Those are the only two in that particular continuity that will be included in this Elseworld project type thing. And then we have 2018 featuring the events of Flash Season 5. And Flash in the Justice League movie will not be Ezra Miller. That never happened in this universe. Instead, it will be Grant Gustin in an alternate reality to the Arrowverse, where he can do what he does in the Arrowverse and have no impact on the Justice League universe. Then kicking off 2017 we have Spider-Man Homecoming. And then in 2018 we have Thor Ragnarok, which leads into 2018 Infinity War. However, first we have Black Panther, and the first one, which had to happen before Infinity War because it obviously introduces where Infinity War takes place in the end. And then we have Avengers Infinity War with its steelbook, and it has the team on the inside there. I have a regular 4K as well. Yeah. And then while all that is happening, we have the events of Ant-Man and the Wasp taking place during Infinity War, and this is a lenticular cover. Very cool. Love lenticular stuff like that. And then we also have the events of Venom and Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse taking place in 2018. And then kicking off 2019, we have Supergirl Season 5 and Batwoman Season 1, which I think is the best season, honestly, because Kate Kane is a much more believable Batwoman here. Yeah. Not that the other Batwoman isn't good. She just isn't as good as Kate Kane. And she actually has a legitimate claim to the Bat family because she is Bruce Wayne's cousin. And the other lady is not. Moving a bunch of DC titles. Bear with me for a moment. Also in 2018, we have the events of Aquaman, the first one. And then in 2019, we have the events of Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, which I have 3 cases for, 6 copies. 1, 2, 3, no, 5 copies of. I don't go overboard. I don't know what you're talking about. And then in 2018, we also have Valentine the Dark Avenger. As stated, it's in a universe alone with Rendell Dark Vengeance. That is it for the Marvel right now. For now, but in 2019 we have the events of Brightburn, which is a horror movie version of Superman, where it's Brandon Byers instead of Clark Kent, and he is a very, very dark, bad person. Another Elseworlds project here is 2019's Avengers of Justice Farce Wars, which will be just as zany and silly as it sounds. And then we have the events of Joaquin Phoenix's Joker in 2019 as well. And I mentioned how Jared Leto would not be the Suicide Squad Joker. Joaquin Phoenix would be. However, this is in a separate continuity from that other, from his DC Extended Universe Joker. And then we have 2019 also being the year that Hellboy has a reboot with David Harbour. So that would be cool. And I think, hopefully none of this falls over. Because we have some Arrowverse stuff that happened in between here and there. Taking place between, I think, let's see, 2015 and 2019, we have all of Gotham. And in 2019, we have Flash Season 6, which has the Crisis on Infinite Earths, I believe, included in that. I think. Yes. Okay. And Crisis on Infinite Earths is also in Season 5 of Legends of Tomorrow, as well as Season 1 Batwoman. And then in, what is it? Okay, so we're not quite there yet. Then in 2019, we also have the events of Harley or Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn, or if you want, you can just call it the Harley Quinn movie, because that's essentially what it is. Great movie. Definitely check it out if you're not opposed to R ratings. If you are, check it out anyway, because it is great. And then calling back to 2016, we have Justice League, the Snyder Cut, which I have a bunch of copies of. 4 copies. 2 copies here, 1 copy here, and 1 copy here. I decided to keep all 4 because they all look pretty cool. So, yeah. And then, let's see. In 2019 still, we have Shazam with lenticular slipcover as well, and a 4K. So I have 4 copies of that actually, because I think I got the DVD twice. Then we have James Gunn's The Suicide Squad kicking off 2021, which I have a 4K of as well. And also in 2021, we have the events of Flash Season 7 and Batwoman Season 2, as well as Flash Season 8 and Legends of Tomorrow Season 6. So yeah. Then when did this season come out? Then in 2022 we have Legends of Tomorrow Season 7 ending that series, and Supergirl Season 6 ending that series, as well as Flash Season 9 and Batwoman Season 3 ending those two series. And then in another Elseworlds project set in 2021, we have Superman and Lois. Season 1 and Season 2 takes place in 2022. You'll notice at this point, the reason we're not talking about Marvel properties in the moment is because it is the blip, and not very much happened during the blip. So, I mean, Across the Spider-Verse took place during the blip, and so did apparently Valentine, the Dark Avenger. But anyways, moving on. Also in 2022, we have Peacemaker Season 1. Really looking forward to Season 2. I've only seen like 2 or 3 episodes, but I like the show. I just am watching so many different things right now. Also in 2022, we have another Batman reboot with The Batman with Robert Pattinson. Here, he's more of a detective than a superhero guy. However, Joaquin Phoenix's Joker would be showing up in a post-credit scene being like, heh, I'm his Joker. Even though I don't think that's the direction they're going, but in my mind, that is where the logical connection would be. And then starting off 2020 or ending off 2022 and beginning 2023 is Black Adam, which I have a 4K of as well. So yeah. And then when does this one take place? 2023. Okay. So in the year of the blip, we have Shazam: Fury of the Gods, and we can finally talk about another Avengers or another MCU project or Marvel project, and that is Avengers Endgame, which honestly, all the DC characters that we've mentioned and different iterations of characters, except for those that have passed on at this point, would be present in this event, as well as characters like Punisher, the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Wolverine, and other X-Men, Punisher, Ghost Rider, all those guys would be present here in this battle. And then in 2013 as well, we have the events of the Flash movie, and as stated, it would not be it would not be Ezra Miller, because Ezra Miller's not a good person. It would be Grant Gustin the entire time. The suit would be the same, the actor would not. The story would also be kind of the same, but anyway. Then also in harkening back to 2012 with the Endgame time traveling shenanigans, we have Loki Season 1 Steelbook here, with some pictures that I'll be showing in a second. But here we go. The pictures are of, looks like Goliath, the Rock Cart store, and Alligator Loki. Yes, there is an Alligator Loki apparently. Taking place shortly after that is WandaVision, and I like to say this is just season 1, not the complete series, but it does say the complete series on the case there, but I'm hoping they pick up where this one left off eventually and do it a second season. And then set in late 2023, we have Shang-Chi and the Legends of the Ten Rings, set before the events of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. which is also a steelbook. Oh, I need to show the inside of the steelbook for WandaVision. My bad, as well as the back. So here is the entire steelbook for WandaVision. There are pictures in this one as well that I will show, but here you go. So the pictures for this series are of Vision versus White Vision, who I hope shows up again soon, but we'll see. And then this moment here, and Wanda and Vision watching TV with the red glow of WandaVision, because why not? Okay, sorry about that, a little sidetrack. And Falcon and the Winter Soldier here also has pictures and whatnot to show, so I will be doing so. First, here's the inside of the steelbook. Then we have John Walker, Falcon, Zemo, Dora Milaje, and Winter Soldier all in a battle here. Then we have John Walker as Captain America. He did a terrible job as Captain America, but I'm looking forward to U.S. Agent. And then we have the rightful new Captain America, Sam Wilson, flying in to save the day here. And that brings us to Spider-Man Far From Home, introducing Mysterio, who will become a big player moving forward with the story for Spider-Man, because without Mysterio doing what he did in the end of this and the beginning of No Way Home would not have happened. So, thank you, Mysterio, I guess. However, first we have the events of Blue Beetle taking place in 2023, as well as Aquaman 2 in 2023. Before we get into 2024 and beyond. Also in 2023, we have the events of Venom Let There Be Carnage, where he ends up going to the MCU, Venom does, with his symbiote Hive Mind, knowing who Peter Parker is. And Venom and Peter Parker are not friends by any stretch of the imagination. And here are the Dark Knight trilogy packs that I mentioned. So I'll show that here in just a second. Taking place in 2005, 8, and 12, respectively. I said I would harken back to those, and now I just have. Yeah. And then in 2020, mid to late 2024, we have the events of Spider-Man No Way Home with multiversal shenanigans getting in the way of things. And then we have also in the late 2024, the Eternals, which I also have the 4K of, which has a bit more to it. I think it has pictures and whatnot. That's fine. Nope, this is some sort of display thing. Oh. Okay. Kind of concept art pictures in a way. So that's cool. Yeah. Not sure what that's all about. Some sort of displaying items. So I have no idea how to get this thing back in here. Shoot. Maybe like there we go. Somewhat. I don't know how to get this back in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put it in that. No, that's not going to work either. Dang it. I don't know what to do with this. Maybe if I... Okay. The 4K case has a different picture than the Blu-ray case is. Sorry about this little delay here. That is not the end of my DC or my MCU universe or timeline though, because there's another file. However, we have reached the end of the DC involvement. So, taking place in early 2025, we have Morbius after the events of Spider-Man: Far From Home or No Way Home, bringing other characters to and from various universes, and Multiverse of Madness taking place shortly thereafter as well. Then we have the events of Moon Knight taking place in 2024 somewhere. There's the back of the case, front of the case, inside the case, and the concept art here. Very cool. I like how they include concept art pictures for these MCU shows. I think that's a nice touch. Yeah. Nice touch. And then we have Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, and Thor: Love and Thunder, Ant-Man and Wasp: Quantumania, and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, all taking place in early 2025 or early to mid 2025. Then we have the events of the Marvels in mid to late 2025. Flerken. So cute. Look at that. That's cute. I love the steelbooks in case you haven't noticed. I want to get some DC steelbooks. I don't think I have a single DC steelbook. Actually, I do have one. My bad. But moving on, we have the events of Logan in 2029. A bit of a jump. And then we have all three different versions of Deadpool 2, the theatrical, the super duper extended cut, and the PG-13 edited version. All are canon. All actually happened and took place in this multiverse. And then we have closing off our timeline in 2030. We have the events of the New Mutants, which calls back to events in Logan. And then Madam Web. Whew! And that is it for this massive, massive timeline. So there you go. That is all. And I'll catch you in the next video whenever that ends up being.